Slow is simply look only within. And it's the idea that you actually have the answers and you don't need to be saved. You don't need bro culture or internet marketers to tell you what you should be doing. If you're slow and calm, the answers kind of bubble up.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Hey, Be It babe, how are you? Okay, I promise you've never heard about a living like this before. And our guest today is like the queen of what she does. I'm going to let her tell you what she does, but I'm going to tell you right now, I want to live next to this woman. I want her to be my neighbor. I want her to be a friend that I can just call. I am going to save this episode just so I can hear the end of it over and over and over again, especially on the days that I need to hear it. You guys, Stephanie O'Day is our guest today. And if you think that name sounds familiar, it's because it will. You'll hear about that in a second. And I am just so obsessed. This interview is kind of one of the reasons why I'm like, oh my God, I love that I get to do this podcast. I feel like the luckiest girl in the world because I get to learn from these amazing guests and then I get to share that with you. And so y'all buckle up, take a deep breath, slow down. This episode is gonna rock your world in the best way. All right, Be It babe, this is gonna be really exciting. I think we've never had this topic before. I'm always interested when there's something new, a new way for us to be it till we see it. And today's guest is Stephanie O'Day. Can you tell us, everyone, who you are and what you rock at?
Absolutely. I'm Stephanie O'Day, and I write, coach, teach, and speak about all things slow living.
Okay, right.
I know. I promise I'm not just sitting on the couch twiddling my thumbs, eating bonbons, doing nothing. I promise. There's a method to the madness.
Yeah, obviously we're all intrigued, like, what is slow living? But maybe we need to know what that is before we can figure out how you got to doing slow living. So let's all get on the same page. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look at slow living as meeting your goals, all of them, your personal and your professional goals, in a slow, steady, and sustainable way. And if we can circle and highlight and underline and put some pointers at sustainable, that's what it's at. Because I think we all know the feeling of being gung-ho and I'm going to do this now and I'm going to eat this way and I'm going to work out this way and I'm going to get up at 3 a.m. and I'm going to have rock star abs at the end of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, if you're listening, chances are you're a human and not a robot. And well, who knows? The robots may be taking over. But in real life, people have ups and downs and all arounds and variables they can't control. So slow living, first off, has an acronym attached to it. I'm a super nerd when it comes to acronyms. And that's because my grandpa, when I was about 7, told me that the word snafu had the F word hiding in it. So it's situation, normal, all effed up. But he told me, and I was 7. He actually said the bad word out loud. And I'm like, grown-ups hide bad words in regular words. And so like since then, I've nerded out with acronyms. So slow living, slow is simply look only within. And it's the idea that you actually have the answers and you don't need to be saved. You don't need bro culture or internet marketers to tell you what you should be doing. If you're slow and calm, the answers kind of bubble up. So it's a big part of listening to your inner voice, to your inner gut, to your intuition, and then taking action on it. So the 3-step success formula is mindset plus action plus consistency equals success.
Yeah.
And so the new book is broken up that way. And the idea is when you're in a good mood, just ask yourself, like, what's the next best step for me to take? And then go quiet and listen. Because you know the answer is inside. The answer is not going to be on a doom scroll of TikTok. It's legit inside of you, and you know what you're supposed to do. And then just do the thing. over and over and over again, and even when you don't want to.
I love this so much because I love that you put consistency in there. The only way to be consistent is if you actually are at a pace that you can consistently do. We were in Singapore the other day. I picked up a taxi and the car, I was trying to figure out what was going on because the guy was driving the car. It would go, woo, you know, where your whole body moves, like someone's taking off too fast at a red light. And then it would slow down. And then it would go like that again. And it was like literally for 16 minutes, the body was going like this and like this and like this. We were on the freeway, but it felt like urgency to leave the intersection. And then a hard-ish brake, but not a full brake. And I got a headache. I got sick. Brad felt nauseous. I was like, I hope we don't get that cab going to dinner. Like I cannot be in that car again. That's the idea of you can't be consistent at a pace like that because you can't, your body doesn't do well, your brain doesn't do well. And so being consistent is so key to having the things that we want. But I also love you add like listening to yourself because it's really hard to do that when you're kind of going too fast. Like you don't have time when everything is chaotic. How did you get into doing this? Like, were you born working slow? Like,
No. I'll tell you my backstory, but I got to tell you, my mom drives that way. And now my kids don't want to get in the car with her. They're like, I always feel sick when I drive with grandma. So I
okay. So there's other, I literally was looking at his leg. I'm like, is he doing this? Or is it like the car is like, oh, there's a car that's too close. Like could not figure out what's going on.
No, I think my mom is full acceleration and then foot off and then full acceleration and then foot off. And there's a happy medium there. So what's interesting about my backstory is I got started writing online crockpot recipes, crockpot slow cooker recipes.
I definitely was wondering if slow living meant like slow cooker.
Yeah. So I'm very Googleable, but I got my start in 2008 because I made a New Year's resolution to follow through on using my crockpot slow cooker every day for a year and writing about it online. And it took off. It went viral.
I've heard of you. You are Googleable.
Yeah. So it's so funny because 2008, depending on how old you are when you're listening, that could sound like a long time ago or not that long time ago. But at the time, it legit was the first crockpot recipe site written by like a normal person. And it went crazy. I made yogurt. I invented, like, quote unquote, invented lots of things. And because of that, I ended up on national television multiple times. Good Morning America, Rachel Ray Show, did all the magazines and got a book deal. It worked great. At its peak, it was making $1,000 a day just in banner ads. And it was amazing. So the good news is I understand mathing and I understand the internet. So I knew what goes up must eventually come down. And so that absolutely did in about 2016 with the Instant Pot. And so my book publishers and agent, they're like, you should translate all your recipes. So I bought one and I hated the thing. I get it. The tech part is fun. Yay for the scientists for discovering that they can cook a frozen chicken in 45 minutes. But for me, what I liked about the crock pot is I could put it on in the morning. I'm highly caffeinated and coherent. I push a button and then I never think about dinner again. So it eliminated a whole bunch of decision fatigue. And it just was lovely because cooking's great, but I'm not going to get a Zen moment chopping an onion. I'm just not. Some people are. Great.
No.
But for me, it's a chore.
I see you. You are seen.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I got fired. I got fired and I had this like sort of voice of God of like, hey, staff, just because you can do something fast, it doesn't mean you should. And so I spent some time away from the internet. I sort of unplugged everything for a while. And one really lovely, amazing thing about passive income is even when you're not working, it works for you. So I was in a very privileged state that I could kind of pontificate what the next best step for me to take was. And I realized that following through on my resolution, following through on all of the goals that I've always had for myself has been my secret sauce. Writing crockpot recipes was really just a way to feed the internet. And so that's how the Slow Living podcast got started and how I started working with women from all over the world to help them meet their goals in a slow, steady, and sustainable way.
I'm obsessed with this because I think it's because here's what I love about this. I was like, oh, I wonder if slow living means like slow cooker. And then I don't even use my Instapot. Do you see how like I put the two together, even though they're not? Thank you for educating me. I clearly
Gold
am not.
Stars, Lesley, gold stars.
I am not the person who cooks in this household. I think that's pretty evident. I was just like, oh, and then I was reading all the stuff and I was like, oh, but like we're going to talk about goals. And I'm like totally in on this, how this works. So, but I love that the intuitiveness was there. So that's really great. But the other reason I love this is that you are the perfect example of how you get started and what you have done in the past. That's not that it has to ever end, but also that you can evolve from it. And it doesn't have to be like the next pie over, which is the Instapot. It could be like all the way on the other side of the pie and be like something that's different, but they're not. They're the same.
No, absolutely. And it's funny. So I have 3 kids and I'm constantly telling them like, you are your own person and your own entity. Sure, dad and I might have ideas for you, but you get to decide. And every year people get so excited about New Year's resolutions and different things and the idea that they can reinvent themselves. And then they have the first few dismissive thoughts of, well, I can't do that, or, oh, this is too hard. And so then they give up. And the fact is, if we're lucky, life is long. Sure, you could get hit by a bus tomorrow, but don't live your life thinking that. Instead, where are you going to be in your 50s, your 60s, and your 70s? I mean, I work with women of all ages and stages. If you want to crawl around on the floor in your 70s with your grandchildren and do yoga and have, I don't know, prize winning tulips, start now. Start setting the stage now and plant those metaphoric seeds to get you from where you are to where you want to go.
You are correct. As a Pilates instructor, one of the things that people like, when should I get started? I'm like, well, yesterday was a better day, but that's fine. We'll start now, because I've had people come to me at 70 going, I'm in aches and pains. I've got this thing and now I've got a hump on my back. And I'm like, so the time to prevent the hump was like 20 years ago. So there's not much I can do now that you're in that position, but here's what I can do to keep you upright so you can play with your grandchildren. And people don't realize, and they wait until they realize they weren't hit by a bus earlier. And then they're like, now I want to make changes. And that's not that it's ever too late, but there's just some things that if we got started sooner and when we went more consistently, we went more slowly, we took our time handling the obstacles and the setbacks and reevaluating, that we would actually get to where we wanted to go, I guess, faster.
So it's true. I mean, it's legit the metaphor of the tortoise and the hare, just slow, steady, and stay on track. And so that's why I like that mindset, action, consistency formula, is when you're in a good mood, don't make up rules for yourself when you're in a bad mood, because you're just punishing yourself. But when you're in a good mood, decide what the next steps are. And a lot of it is putting blinders on and not worrying about what other people are doing. So if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, well, Lesley got to be in Singapore last week and I wasn't in Singapore last week and my life sucks. So, okay, you are playing your own game. So again, because I am such an acronym junkie, I rewrote FOMO to figure only myself out. You play your game. And if Singapore is not in your cards right now, okay, great. But maybe put it on a vision board and maybe start saving and start pivoting to have that come to fruition. But it doesn't mean you've done anything wrong if you never had the thought like 6 or 8 months ago or a year ago when Lesley decided to go to Singapore. You weren't there yet. So if you're there now, okay, great. Start pivoting and make that way. And same with the hump on your back. If you're like, oh, okay, I do want to be that person in my 70s, but I actually really like my nightly wine and I like doom scrolling and I caught up on all of the seasons of Younger and now I don't know what to do with myself. Okay. Then go do some stretches and start working on it in a very slow, steady, and sustainable way.
You're absolutely correct. And I have a funny story about the Singapore thing. You guys, normally when we fly to Cambodia for our retreat, we always choose the shortest. I mean, doesn't everybody, when you want to get to where you want to go when you're traveling. So it's like the shortest. Well, ever since the pandemic and the way the flight paths have changed, it has been twice as much to fly to Cambodia as it usually is. And it irritates me because I know it's not that expensive. Double is not the right price. So my assistant presented like 3 options, and the 2 shortest options were $1,500 per person round trip, 23 hours of travel. Still a lot, still full day, exhausting. But then there was a flight that was 31 hours of travel. It was $500 cheaper per person, and it had a 13-hour layover in Singapore. And in Singapore, you can leave the airport, you can apply for the day visa. It's so easy to do. You do it online. And we were landing in time to go to dinner. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool to go to Singapore for dinner? And here's the thing, you guys, it wasn't about saving $500. It was about enjoying the trip to Cambodia, because I'm like, I'm so tired of being tired when I get there. And so I thought, let's just see what it's like. Instead of having 6 hours, which is not enough time to leave an airport and just walk, do laps in the airport. What if we had 13 and we went to dinner and we slept in a hotel and then we got up and we flew to the next place? You guys, I loved it. I had 2 on the way into Cambodia. I had dinner in Singapore. On the way out, we did dinner in Singapore. Fabulous. I felt like it was so luxurious. It felt so, it felt so good. It felt like I was like a first-class traveler. So anyways, that's my share on evaluating, doing things a little differently. Your FOMO, like figure my own self out. I'm tired when I get there. What could I do? So that's my little tip there. But I want to highlight that you said make the decisions when you're in a good mood, because you're correct. People are punishing themselves when they're like, you don't feel good, you feel exhausted, you hate your job, and then you're like, I'm going to do this. And it's like, it is a punishment. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, and especially since you're in the fitness realm, the idea of I'm going to force myself to do this workout every day, no matter what, with the idea that if I skip a day because I'm sick or I don't feel well or the toilet overflowed or the kid had a bloody nose in the middle of the night, I failed.
Yep.
No, no. So I tell people all the time, if you're embarking on a 30-day challenge and it takes you 45 days to do the 30 days, you're not going to be graded. You're not going to be in trouble. You're the grown up in the room. You only fail when you completely and totally decide to give up. But keep going and think of yourself again, as that 70-year-old. You would be way more proud of yourself for keeping going, even if you have to take a day off here and there. And that's a big part of the sustainability part of slow living.
During the pandemic, I got really interested in like some people create habits and how do they not. I don't know if you've read Gretchen Rubin's 4 Tendencies, like how do we meet expectations? So I thought, well, I'm an upholder. That's easy for me. But what about the rest of the people? As a fitness person who wants people to move, and I always tell people, do what's possible. Finishing is optional. Why aren't they listening? Why can't they listen? And what's going on? And I got to study with BJ Fogg, and he talked about these tiny habits. And it's crazy to see how people legitimately cannot do the tiny habit. They actually are like, it's not enough just to put my shoes on. It's like, but you don't go to the gym now. So you're asking yourself to put out the gym clothes early, pack a gym bag, get everything on, drive to the gym, find a parking space, enter the gym, put the bag in a locker, do the workout. Oh, you forgot your towel. So now you're going to be late for work. Otherwise, now you have to leave early. And it's just we're asking ourselves to do such huge leaps and bounds before we've actually created the ability to do that consistently. And then we fail ourselves. And it's like, even when you went to school, you didn't get the F until the end of this. You had the whole semester to get a better grade.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, when people come to me with those kind of obstacles, first off, I definitely have squirrel brain. I have lots and lots and lots of markers of ADHD. And every time I talk to anyone, because I can talk myself, well, I write and I speak, so I know how to talk to people. And they're like, you don't have ADHD. I'm like, that's fine. Just help me. But the only reason I found out is I've got one in grad school. And so she's applying for law school. And so needing to sit for the LSATs and that kind of stuff. All of these things came up. I'm like, there's something wrong with you. You're just like me. And then I'm like, oh, wait.
Right.
But anyway, as far as that, when I'm working with people who can't break things down in a bite-sized chunk, and they get overwhelmed, or halfway through the assignment, they're already moved on to something else, we gamify the system. And so earlier when I gave you gold stars, I legit hand out gold stars. If you did something, give yourself a sticker, like those old school chore charts on the wall where you're giving yourself a happy face. Absolutely pay off. And then reward yourself. Maybe not if you're trying to do a fitness routine, maybe not with like a hot fudge sundae, but maybe with a pedicure or maybe with an afternoon off work for no reason except for you want to take a really cozy bougie nap and you have your weighted throw and you're just so happy. That is a reward, and that's something that you can look forward to. But definitely game the system.
Yeah. I love Gamify. I love a reward or like something tactical that you can do, like some sort of celebration. But I also want to highlight, hi, I also was someone who didn't think they had ADHD. And I was like, oh, my husband has ADHD, right? Because that's where all the symptoms, and he like is legit like model of a male with ADHD. And we were applying for a business license type of a thing, like some sort of certificate. And the woman who files the paperwork, I met her. And so we're talking and she's like, okay, you have your women in business certification. I'm like, yeah, we've got that. She's like, okay, where's your disability certificate? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't have a disability. And she goes, well, you have ADHD. And I was like, oh, my husband does, but I own the business for the women in business owners. So I don't have, she's like, no. She's like, you just haven't been tested, girl. You have ADHD. I can see all of it. And I started looking up women's signs of ADHD. I absolutely have it. So I'm with you. And we forget how we figured out how we can make our lives work. And so I just want to highlight to anyone listening, if you have ADHD and that's a reason why it's a problem for you to like finish the thing you started, there is a superpower that you can tap into once you acknowledge it and like you look into how can you work best for yourself. And it is not through punishment ever.
Yeah. No, it's celebrating your process. So because I'm a writer, this is the 11th book I've written. I know my process, so I no longer beat myself up. I know for a fact I don't miss deadlines, so that's great news for me. But I also know that I'm not linear. I am up and down and all around. And if I have a brainstorm at 3 a.m., it's better for me to get up and write. Any of those how to be a successful published author checklists that they show on the internet for clickbait, that's not me. And that's not really any of us. That's marketing hype. That's trying to get you to click. If you've been online long enough, I'm certain you have clicked on something only because you were feeling a little anxious, maybe a little vulnerable, and you're like, oh, the answers to my prayer. But the fact is, the answers are inside and with you. And it's not going to come from doom scrolling TikTok. It's going to come when you're calm and you're in a good mood and you're like, okay, I am not feeling the best right now. I'm not going to gaslight myself. I legit do not feel good in my brain and my body right now. What is the next best step for me to take? And then going quiet and then doing what it is. Chances are your brain is going to say, you need more water. You need to cut back on wine. You need to stay away from Jane down the street because she makes you feel really shitty. Can I say shitty? Sorry,
you can. No, we love it. We love it. And yeah, stay away from Jane.
Yeah. No, just like you know. And I get it because I mean, I met Lesley online. We're all trying to carve our own little niche out. But the thing is you're more vulnerable and you're more susceptible to following advice made up by stupid businessy, I'm going to say men, just for lack of a better term, bro marketers.
Yeah.
When you're feeling down on yourself.
Yeah. It's really interesting because just before I came on this, I had a YouTube comment and it was on a video that was like the best reformers to buy for home. And I hate the title because it's that clickbaity title, but I promised myself, okay, I have to do the titles that they want because these are the things that people will click on. But I can be honest, right? And so I was completely honest about how I don't love the reformers that are $300 because I know that a quality reformer costs $4,800. Why do they cost $4,800? Because they're not made of plastic, because they're made of metal, they're made of wood. It takes a long time to make them. And they last decades, right? They last decades. And these cheaper ones, while they look very similar to the ones you're seeing in studios, I don't know what the weight requirements are. I don't know if you can stand on them. And I don't know that they have the same safety mechanisms. So then you're going to take my classes or someone else's classes and like, I don't know. So I was very clear of like, here's what I would say. So it ended with, there is not an affordable one. Like it just isn't. But here are all the things you can do. So this person wrote, okay, so great. So just don't give me a cheaper option so that I could modify the exercises to do the thing. And she was on, and she was so angry with me that I wouldn't give her a cheap one to buy. So I actually wrote back right away because I was like, so you need a car. You need a car that can get you to work. And the car that would be the best gas mileage for you, that would not require any maintenance, and actually has the best safety standards, it's outside of your budget right now. So instead, you would like me to sell you a car that gets the worst gas mileage, that needs maintenance every week, that breaks down on you on your way to work. And so instead of actually getting to work on time, you're now taking the bus anyways, when you could have just waited and taken the bus in the first place until you could afford the car that has the best gas mileage, all these things. I'm so sorry. I refuse to sell you crap. And I know that's frustrating, but no, I don't want you modifying exercises to make the equipment, because then you're not going to get the benefits. It just makes me think of this stuff. Like, people have gotten to this place that now have gotten so, they've now been trained so much by the clickbait. They want to be sold the quick, fast thing, but that's not going to get what you want. So I'm not going to sell it to you. And it's really, really hard, because you and I are people, like, we want to be honest with people on the internet. I want a relationship with you. Whenever I tell you that this is the right thing, that you can trust that it's the right thing. And it's really hard in a world, everyone wants to go so fast. They want the thing today, and they'll rather buy the cheap thing than the thing that will get them there. How do you get people out of wanting it quickly?
Yeah.
I guess we can't help people who don't want to be helped.
Yeah. So we're recording right now, and I know you are captivating the video. So this is a standard bedroom that happens to have cabinetry filled with crockpots, by the way. But on the other side of the room, I have a framed print, and it says, discipline is just choosing between what you want now and what you want most. And that's the thing. Slow your roll, peeps. Slow your roll. And have a little bit of discipline. We teach children that patience is a virtue. Practice that. Be that. There's a reason why Buddhist monks and people who meditate a lot and do lots of yoga and meditation are calmer, is because they have quieted their squirrel brain, and they have delayed gratification enough to know that while sitting in a meditative stance for 10, 20, 30 minutes isn't as quick as a fix as, I don't know, taking some drug or down in a half bottle of wine. But the end goal, if you do it over and over and over again, is so much better. So I'm going to repeat it. Discipline is choosing between what you want now versus what you want most. And keep that most in your mind when you are scrolling. So then you can have that thought of, great for them, not for me. Great for them. Good. Everyone is allowed to make money. Everyone's allowed to make money. Great for them. Good for them. They're gaming the algorithm. Good for them. Good for them. Good for them. Not for me. And then now I'm going to coach you for a second, Lesley, because I think you're adorbs. I too get the clickbait thing. I know how to play the game. I know when I was writing recipes that it would be way better for me to say, this is the world's easiest and best pot roast recipe you'll ever have. Better than your grandma. Blah, blah, blah. And the fact is, pot roast is pot roast is pot roast is pot roast. And if you put in paprika versus liquid smoke or blah, 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 it doesn't really truly matter in the great big huge scheme of things. But the hope is you get someone to click, and then that someone gets to know you and see your video and read your writing and connect with you and say, oh, okay, I get what Lesley's doing here. It's fine. I'm going to cut her some slack. And that's another great big thing that I would love for us to do online, is to remember that there are real humans there and give people the gift of grace. And sometimes we mess up. I mess up. And the hope is that when I do, I apologize and I acknowledge it. And then I try and better myself. If I don't try and better myself, that's where the problem is. And that's where the disconnect is. And that's not you. You are amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you for seeing me. And it is the interesting world out there that we live in. I like to think that everyone's doing it the best way that they can when they know how. You know, I like to have that grace. And I think that the more of us who could do that, would be, the world be a better place. But I think that, you know, we have to just keep doing it. And I agree. Like, when we all make mistakes, and it's like, you get to apologize. And if people can't accept that, it's almost better that we find out now so they can go away.
Totally. It's funny. I'm intolerant now to people who can't own mistakes and apologize. And so again, back to my crazy ego, my crazy acronyms. The acronym for ego is edging God out. And regardless of your religious belief, the idea that you are the almighty and know everything and aren't humble and don't have enough humility to acknowledge a mistake is a big problem.
Yeah.
So check your ego. Just check it, because everybody's shit stinks. They really do.
I'm obsessed with you already. You mentioned stopping the scroll a few times, and I think that that is definitely a hard problem for a lot of people. Like even people who don't even have to post on the internet for a job. My mom does not have to post on the internet at all. And but she has a scrolling problem, right? And I even, because I have to open up and talk to the people and respond to comments and all that stuff, I found myself yesterday picking up my phone after the end of the workday to go check. And I was like, hold on, I'm not working right now. And I had to like literally put my phone across the room and pick up a book instead. And I was like, what would make reading this book more pleasurable? I like did all the things, heard different guests say, and I'm like, it would make it more pleasurable if I was sitting in front of my red light. Okay, I'm going to sit in front of my red light. I'm going to do this thing. And I read a book for like 45 minutes. It was so lovely. It felt so good. I went to bed. I slept so good last night because I did not scroll. But I think it's an addiction that people have to just pick up when they're bored. So how do you stop your scroll?
Yeah. So first off, you are definitely not alone. And I've been working online for probably a lot longer than you are, because I'm probably a lot older than you are. So one thing I needed to do for myself, and this is only for people who work online probably, is it's not on my phone. My phone
Mm.
is for phone stuff. And work stays on the computer. So, and for me, social media is work. It's not pleasurable. It's not fun. In real life, I want to talk to my friends on the phone, text with my friends in real life. So there's that. And then as far as normal, regular, everyday people who have the old school FOMO and think that they will miss out on stuff, schedule it in, time block it. So I'm a
Mm.
huge proponent of time blocking. And the way I teach it is to decide on purpose that your day is kind of set up like a school day. So think back in high school, you are not going to finish your history book in first period. You're just not. But the good news is you'll have first period every day. So schedule in what it is you want to do every day, so you don't have that feeling of having to catch up, because spoiler
Mm.
alert, you will never catch up on social media. They have designed it to be never, ever, ever ending. But if your allotted amount of time, and my suggestion would be in 10-minute chunks, 10 minutes, set a timer. Love bossing Siri around. She will just set timers for me all day long. And then scroll, do what it is you need to do, and then step away with the idea that it's going to be okay, because you're going to revisit this time block again tomorrow, and it's
Mm.
fine.
Oh my gosh. Stephanie O'Day, I love you. And I love that. I love that permission. Like, it's not like, don't do it. Or it's not like only you get 5 minutes a day. It's like, oh, just schedule a few 10-minute blocks. And it's true. You guys walk around this house at any moment. Brad is like, Siri, set a timer for 7 minutes. Siri, remind me to do this tomorrow. Like,
I love Siri. So first off, I love the idea of a live-in personal helper. Whew. So the fact is that she's in my back pocket all the time is amazing. And I'm very nice to her in case the robots do take over the world. I thank her. I
yeah.
tell her she's pretty.
Yeah.
Just in case. You never know.
You are better than I. Brad was talking to my Siri the other day, and he was connected to my phone, and he's like, hey, Siri. And then he's like, she's not answering. I'm like, I told her to fuck off the other day, and she's not come back. So I think that's my fault. When like she wasn't understanding me, she kept talking when I wasn't wanting her, and I was just like, fuck off. She never came back. So I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so does that mean you have to like go back in the settings and actually turn her back on?
I think so.
Oh,
I think that's
so
where
funny.
I think that's where we're at. There's an
that's so
update that's
funny.
going to happen tonight. I'm hoping she goes back.
Oh, that's so funny. No.
But at
I
any
feel
rate,
like she's listening to me right now. I love you, Siri. I'm going to pet you.
They
You're
are,
fine.
and you are correct. I need to be nicer because the robots are going to take over, and hopefully they just give us permission to keep doing what we love. All right. I could talk to you for hours, but we're going to take a brief break and then find out if people can find you, follow you, and work with you. All right, Stephanie O'Day, where do you hang out? Where can people just become more obsessed with you?
So I'm a real person. You can email me at any time and I will write back to you. Steph@stephanieoday.com. That's the main site, is stephanieoday.com. I do have a slow living podcast, and the new book is called Slow Living, Cultivating a Life of Purpose in a Hustle Driven World. And that's wherever books are sold.
Oh my God. I'm going to read it. I'm so excited. I feel like so blessed that we all got to talk, like even think about this. And your acronyms are amazing. I mean, you know that already, but they are amazing. And I know several listeners who, because I'm lucky enough to get to meet our listeners all the time, and they mention different episode numbers. And like, I know this is one that they're going to use because there's such tangible things that they can do to just take time to listen to their body and do what's next. What's the best next thing? You've given us a lot, but we love the beit action items, the bold, executable, intrinsic or targeted steps people can take to be it till they see it. What do you have for us?
So it's interesting. Before we hit record, you were talking about don't tell people to journal unless you tell them how to journal. So I have a guided daily journaling worksheet and you can download it. It's super, super free. StephanieO'Day.com/daily, DAILY. And people write to me and they're like, I don't do anything else except for this worksheet. And what it does is it helps, again, get you in the right mindset because it's putting you in a good mood because you're journaling. And then it's helping you move forward on all of your personal and professional goals. So the action steps, and then doing it every day, using that muscle creates the consistency that you need for success.
So the reason I tell guests, like, please don't tell them to not journal, because some people say, just journal every day. And then I get, what do I journal? The reason I know that this is true is because my therapist had told me back in 2020 when I started therapy, I was like, I think this is going to be a really long time, but we're doing this. So I think I'm going to need to do some therapy. And she said, okay, I want you to journal every day. So the next week I got on, I was like, so what was I supposed to put in the journal? How do I start? Is it a letter? Because I'm an overthinker and a recovering perfectionist. And so I love that you are like, here is a simple worksheet that you can do to journal, because it gives people an idea of how to make the journal work for them. Because I do believe that journaling works. If you don't know what you're doing, it can feel overwhelming.
Absolutely. And what I like about this worksheet, and it's a printable, guys. So people have tried to put it in a Google form and that kind of stuff. Your brain is different when you're using a pen and paper. And so that's why there's definitely a method to the madness. And I want you to slow down. Like, hello, spoiler alert. I legit, I want you to slow down. And then also you're collecting data. So you can look back. And on the worksheet, I ask you what day of your cycle you're in, because it's a big deal. So if you're like, how come I rocked it last Wednesday? Well, maybe it's because you were on day 15 and now you're on day 28 and you hate the world. That is important. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, because you are not a spreadsheet. And anyone who says anything, and usually they're bro marketers, that you have to improve yourself by 1% every day or you're doing it wrong. No, because humans have ups and downs and all arounds. And if I can give you any parting words of wisdom, it would be that I just want to hug you and tell you that you're doing a great job and there's nothing wrong with you. And you absolutely can get to where you want to go, but you have to trust in yourself that you can do the things, and then just you'll get there when you get there.
I mean, I already thought this was going to be an episode that people would hit save on, and replay just to re-listen. But I really think they'll just do that just for that last part right there. You're doing a great job. We all need Stephanie O'Day to tell us you're doing a great job. I love that your journal has people put the day of the cycle, because yes, we've been talking about that a lot because that affects how you work out, all the different things. And it is true. You are going to have days where you can take over the world and days where you're like, if someone talks to me at all, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah. No, it's true. So I've been married 25 years. And sometimes, thankfully, I can just tell Adam, so today's not a day for you to actually engage with me. It's like, oh, okay. Thanks for the warning.
Yeah. The other day.
You're breathing wrong today. Sorry. You fix that and circle back around.
Yeah. I said to Brad, I don't feel awesome today. He goes, it's the day before your period. You're not going to feel awesome. And I was like, thank you. That's right. That's why I married you.
True story.
And he didn't go, of course you're awesome. He just was like, you're not. Just not going to feel it. And it's like, yeah, thank you. Okay. Well, clearly I want to keep talking to you, but we'll do that another way. Stephanie O'Day, thank you so much for being here. You guys, how are you using these tips in your life? Please tag Stephanie, tag the Beit Pod. Tell us how you're slow living. Share this with a friend who needs it. Imagine if all of your friends were acting in the FOMO in the best way, and they were actually listening to themselves and taking some time. Imagine how much easier that would make your life. So share this with the friends in your life who need them. And until next time, be it till you see it. That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.